So I've kind of got my plan worked out now that I've got the information back from her that I needed. I need to remeasure the couches tonight because I forgot the dimensions, like the width and height. I know how long it is. I just don't remember how tall and wide it is. I believe it was 4 feet wide by 4 feet wide, approximately. But I don't remember. So I've got the dimensions of the apartment, like the door and stuff, because I don't want to like move the couches just to get there and it not have even been physically possible to put the couches through the door frame even without like the weirdness of it. What is a coaxial attachment? I don't know what that means. What is that? It's for your TV. Oh. I guess I'll have to leave it up to the cable company to figure out how to hook up my internet then, because she said there's not Ethernet ports in the wall, which we don't have here either. So if it's the same as what we have here, then that's not a big deal. The like pokey ones. Yeah, but I'm sure they'll have someone come install it for me because they did here. They at least had someone come install the cable box. I was able to install the router myself, but someone came in and like set up the cable box for me because they have to like set it up on a certain day or based on how you pay or whatever. This might be a tight squeeze. I may not even be able to take these with me. Because it says 30 inches is what the width of the doors are. I don't know if that's going to work. Because I believe 4 feet was a generous estimate when I measured it before. Yikes. I don't want to have to buy a couch when I get there is the thing. My goal was to take this couch with me so then I could delay the purchase of a mattress by like a month. So I have time to like get settled in and like save up a little bit extra money and then drop some money on a bed, and then replace the couch if I wanted to. But if I'm not even able to take the couch, then I'll have to buy the bed instantly, like immediately, because I'm not gonna be able to find a couch that's comfortable enough to sleep on. Like that's new. That's just not how new couches work. Yeah, my thinking is that, like, because the way it works is I don't know how to illustrate this, is like the stairwell, like, you enter through the stairwell and you go down, like a few stairs, and then you enter like a wall, like you walk right into a wall where in theory you could have doors on either sides of the hallway. Like, it's like you're walking straight down into a hallway. But there's a door on the right hand side of the wall, and that's my apartment. There's no other doors or anything. It's just like a little box and then my door. So my thinking is I'd treat the couch like a little rectangle, and sort of like take it down the stairs, sit it up on its end, and then like pull the bottom out and sort of shimmy it through the doorway, that direction, instead of, because I think it's going to be too tall to go into the doorway. But if I pull it from the bottom, it should, in theory, do that. I might need a second person to stand there and make sure it doesn't damage the wall. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, and like sort of Tetrising it's the way in there. But if it's going to be too wide to even fit through the doorway, then I don't really even need to go to the U-Haul tomorrow. Although it would still be nice to know if I can tow stuff with my car, because that would make it a lot easier in terms of figuring out what I can and can't take with me. Because if I can tow a little storage box behind me, that would increase what I can take with me by a decent amount. Yeah, I can always get a blow-up mattress, but I really fucking hate those. I've never been comfortable in those, even as a kid. Like, and kids can sleep on fucking anything, you know what I mean? I fucking hated the blow-up mattresses we slept on as a kid. So might just have to get a sleeping bag and sleep in a sleeping bag for the first week. Oh, it's gonna suck that first week or two. Even if the couch goes in, because I'm gonna get there on a Tuesday and then I'm going to work on the Thursday. Oh, nasty. Oh, it's gonna suck so bad. I'm gonna be so exhausted that week. That's why I'm trying to save up my hours so I can go home early that first week. So I can like get rest, so I'm ready to like finish the moving, and because I gotta unload everything, so I don't have to pay for whatever U-Haul I end up taking. If I end up taking any of it, I don't have to pay for it for another week, because I can leave all of it in my car, as much, even though I don't really want to drive my entire life back and forth to work 3 times. But if I have to, I can. But at the very least, I'll have to empty whatever U-Haul portions I take with me, so I don't have to pay for those for the extra days. In theory, by the end of day tomorrow, I'll know what U-Haul stuff I will be using / can be using. And then I can, because I'm going to need to book another Airbnb, because I can't check in with her until 10 a.m. at the earliest. And my goal is to get there around between 2 to 4 a.m. So I spend as much time driving during the daytime as possible. So I'll probably book with the same guy I stayed with last time, because he was super easy to get along with, and the bed was so fucking comfortable. Oh my god. You can always take the cushions from the chair and dump the rest of the couch if you get desperate. That's true. That's definitely a possibility. Because the cushions are comfortable shit, because they're so broken in. Yeah. Especially if I end up with a U-Haul anyways. Like if the bed's too big, or the couch is too big. Because the couches are the same like width, like the same like height and width. It's just length that's different between the two couches. So if one of them's too wide, the other one's gonna be too wide. So I may not even be able to fit the 2-seater in. Because also the couch, like the cushions on the back of the couch, which are attached to the couch, go up higher than the actual couch itself, like the hard part of the couch, which can make things difficult. But so annoying. Yeah, I probably will just do that with the cushions. I need to know now. It'll bug the shit out of me if I don't know. That's gonna be a tight squeeze. Yeah. I know she gave me the corridor and the first door that you go in, the hallway width, and the apartment door width, which are all about 30 inches. The hallway is about 31 inches at its narrowest, and then the rest are all 30. So I just measured it without the feet on the bottom of the couch, which I know I can take those off. And excluding the cushion that sticks up over the top of the hard part of the couch, it will fit height-wise. It's under 30 inches. But width-wise, it is very much over 30 inches. So it would have to go down the stairs sort of on its back. And then I'd have to rotate it in the hallway. And then... but the cushions are malleable, so, especially if I take the cushions off, the seat cushions off, those top cushions will push down a little more. So it'll be a tight squeeze, but in theory it can work. Don't know, man. Oh. The only downside to this basement apartment is getting shit into it. It's gonna be a fucking pain in the ass. But, you know. In theory, it could work. So, we'll have to see once we get there then. The ones attached to the back of the couch might be able to come off. I can take a photo of the couch so you know, so you can get a better image of it in your head. I'll post it in the Discord. Yeah, I don't think the backs come off. Posted it in the Discord. That's what the 2-seater looks like. The 3-seater is the exact same thing, just with another seat on it. It's the exact same shape, size, color, everything. It's just longer because it's got an extra seat on it. And those cushions on the back of it don't come off. They are attached. I don't know if there's a zipper somewhere on it. I don't think there's a zipper on it anywhere. So, like these back ones here, like these don't come off to my knowledge. These two obviously do. I don't think there's a zipper anywhere in here that I could like strip the thing. I don't think that's a thing that because I've had the seats off before, and I don't think there's a way to take it off, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, the back ones are attached. But I think when I take these off, these can kind of slip down a bit, the back. So, you know, the stilts come off and these two cushions come off. To my knowledge, the rest of it is attached. These two cushions here are attached. And none of this other stuff can like really be disassembled in any like effective way. Because I believe it's fully wrapped in the cloth. So like I said, there might be a zipper that you can use to strip the cushions off the back, but I've never seen one back there. I've never seen one like under the seat cushions. But I'd have to look a little closer at it at a different date. But with just the measurements, in theory, it can work. It'd be a pain in the ass, but it's possible, yeah. Which is what I mean. I'm not sure if you can take the fabric off, and I'm not gonna cut the fabric open to, like, that's way too much fucking effort. You know what I mean? Because the couch is already in disarray, I should say. Like you can see the fraying on the arms, like here, from the previous owner's cat scratching it. It's just so fucking comfortable, man. This couch has no right being this comfortable. It genuinely does not. But technically, size-wise, it fits. Size-wise, it can work. It would work a lot better if I had a second person to help move it in. But in theory, I could get Deidre to help me. Be like, hey, can you give me 5 minutes to help me take this down the stairs real quick? I'll do most of it. I just need you to stand there and make sure it doesn't whack the wall. Because I ain't trying to immediately lose my deposit before I'm even actually in the apartment. What do you mean? With my luck, there might just be a zipper there, to be honest, but that's a look at later situation. I just wanted to know measurement-wise if it's even possible. To fit it. So. Oh, yeah. In theory, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm tired. I really would like to not have to think about it anymore, which is the goal for the week, like, is to be done with all of that, with having to worry about, can I take them, can I not take them, will they fit, will they won't fit. Like, my goal is to have that sorted by the end of the week, or end of next week at the latest. But once I get the U-Haul thing sorted out, it won't be as big of an issue, because if I can haul the container behind me, then it's not going to matter at all, because I can use that to transport a bunch of things, not just the couches. So, you know. I will absolutely need a second person, though, and that's going to be the part that's probably going to be the hardest, is finding another person to help me with the couch. Because it's just the couch, too. Everything else I can carry on my own. It just, that couch is so big. I can probably lift it by myself, but moving it down a skinny hallway by myself is going to be difficult, you know? It'd be much nicer to have someone on the other end of it to help me, like, sit it up vertically and then stand there so I don't whack the wall with it while I pull the bottom out. Because I can absolutely lift it. It's just a matter of finagling it. Like, moving it around is going to be the hard part. So, you know. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty square shaped, or rectangular shaped. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I know it'd be easier to just throw them out, but couches can be very expensive, man. Not to mention I'd have to buy like a sectional type couch to even fit it, because otherwise I could buy another couch that looks just like that, but I'd have the same issue of getting it moved in, you know what I mean? Like the same issue of trying to fit it in that tiny space. Whereas the bed will come rolled up, you know? We got these couches for free. Max's sister gave them to us. So we got these couches for free. Yeah, I know. It's a bit bonkers. No one is as shocked as me that they are as comfortable as they are. But I regularly fall asleep on them by accident. It's possible, but I think the ones that, my point is, I think the ones I'd find in charity shops, would it be about the same size as the ones I already have? So getting it into the apartment would still be an issue. I just wouldn't have to pay to move them from Nashville to Omaha. I would just have to pay to move them from one part of Omaha to another, and still have to deal with the whole getting them down the stairs, getting them in the door, hoping that it'll fit, you know, all that nonsense. I'd still have to worry about all that, and then end up with a couch that I've never had any experience with at all. You know what I mean? So I'd have to like go buy a new one, like a newer at least type of couch that's a sectional, so they come in littler pieces that will fit through the door, or assemble in the house or whatever. So I'm just ready for that week to be over. Yeah, there won't be any streams that week for obvious reasons. And if I don't have the internet set up in time, there may not be streams the following week either. My hope is to, as soon as I get there, go see, like on the Wednesday, like, because my goal is to like leave on Monday, like Monday afternoon, arrive on Tuesday morning, sleep, wake up, go get my keys and everything, and move in on Tuesday, get all the stuff moved in on Tuesday, take the U-Haul back, and then on Wednesday work on like cable and, or not cable necessarily, but like internet and all that nonsense, internet, water, electricity, all of that stuff, get all that set up on Wednesday. And then that way I have it ready and functioning while I'm at work. And then anything that needs to be ironed out, like going to get a new license plate, new driver's license, all that stuff can be done the next week, when I have more time and I'm not completely exhausted because I've been moving. So I'm sure if they were probably made to the standard door size. They probably are. I do believe our doors here are about the same size as the doors that I'm fitting it into. It's just the stairwell to get up to our current apartment is open air. It's very large and open air. It's not quite two people width wise. Like two people walking up and down next to each other isn't always the most comfortable, depending on the person, like how big the person is. But it's open air because it's outside. So getting the couch up the stairs, which Max's sister's husband did by himself. He just brought it up the stairs on his back. At least he did with the small one. I don't remember what he did with the big one. But he's a big dude. And he just walked it up the stairs. But there's so much space, he could like teeter it a bit and like it could wobble and not like cause any damage because there was so much space. Whereas in this one, it's going to be like fucking reverse Jenga. So as long as you work out, you'll be fine. I got a month to prep for the move. I got to start pumping some irons. I'm so tired of it, guys. I'm so tired of it. Genuinely. Practice lifting it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to practice to see how, like, lifting it from one side, not an issue, but lifting it as a whole, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. Yeah. I could just use it as my like deadlift reps, like just get down there and rep it from one side. I'm tired just talking about it. Like it's making me tired just talking about all the, because that's the only nonsense I'm really having to deal with is moving the couches. That's really it. Because I'm gonna disassemble the chair whether I get the U-Haul or not. I'm gonna disassemble my desk whether I get the U-Haul or not. And I'm of the delusion that I can fit all of my shit into my car. So we'll see how that goes. But if my car is not able to pull the size I need for the couches, but it is able to pull the smallest one, that might affect my desire to take the couches with me. I don't know. I should really stop speculating about it in my head until I know tomorrow what my car can handle. Because They do free inspections for that. It's listed on their website. Free towing inspection, all day, every day. So I'm gonna go over there tomorrow, have them inspect my car and see what it's capable of, and see if I'm just gonna have to rent a box truck anyways to drag the fucking car behind it. So, which will be very fucking expensive. My car is a 2006 Kia Sportage. Not that one. This one. This one's mine. Silver. This bad boy. Just wrong plates, of course, but you know, not even the close to the type of plates that I have on mine. There she is. That's what she looks like. Except very dirty because it's currently covered in bug guts on the front because I have not been able to take it through a car wash. That's another thing on the list for tomorrow is the car wash. I need to add that to the list for tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow I've got to go get my depot shot. I've got to go to the U-Haul. I've got to go pick up my drugs from Kroger. And I got to get my car washed. So, you know. And it's got, I think, 175,000 miles on it right now. 173,000 might be what it's at. Because I just passed 170 recently, but that was before I drove up to Nebraska and back. So, we both drive Kias. Of course we do. What's yours? You said a Kia i10. What year? It stocks Jimmy's vehicle. Ah, very British. This is the most British Kia. Because you all drive these little cars. I wouldn't be able to fit shit in this thing if I drove it around. The blue one. Dark blue or light blue? This blue? Or the light blue? Blue's nice. There's lots of different blues. Dark blue. Nice. Yeah, this is what I think of when I think British car. That's what my brain goes to. It's the short little four-seater. I don't know why. I think that just because that's what's in all of the like old shows that you see from the UK, like the early 2000s stuff. I love this one on the little spinny thing. Nice. Cheap. Yeah, do the seats in the back lay down? Because the seats in my car lay down. Yeah. Mine not only has actual trunk space, which it doesn't really has much trunk space on it by itself, but then it also, the back seats lay down, which give it a lot of room back there to stick stuff. Another thing I always forget that I have that is going to be a pain to move is my green screen. I don't think it fits in the back of my car. So not sure what I'm going to do with that if I don't get a U-Haul. So I forgot it was even there because it's sitting back up against that wall because I've not used it in so long. But I spent like $150 on it, $200 on it. So I'm not just going to like get rid of it. How long is this hoe? How long is she? 5 feet 5 inches. Oh, my knees just exploded. 5.5 feet. Yeah, when I bought mine, it was already over 100K when I got mine, but mine's also 4 years older than yours. We bought it. I think it had been in like Florida or Georgia or something because it had a bunch of sand in it, so it was used in like a beachy area a lot. So it had to have been driven from there. So that alone would have put a bunch of miles on it. But we are going to have a higher mileage here than any of y'all's vehicles because we drive so much more for a variety of reasons. Basically no mass transportation, much bigger space to drive around through, longer road trips, things like that. More expensive flights, leading to people driving long distances instead of flying. Yeah. Meanwhile, someone would buy mine off of me if it didn't have any of the other issues that it has. Although pretty much those other issues are pretty much not an issue. Like it's got some dents and bruises in it, and the top is definitely rusting underneath all that dirt. But I mean, it's in good shape, all things considered. Yeah, higher mileage means it costs less. Low mileage is going to make it more expensive, generally speaking. So, one of the reasons why mine was a little bit cheaper was because it had a lot of miles on it. Yeah, Jimmy got an audaciously good deal for that vehicle. 30,000 miles is already not a lot of miles. $2,500 is already not a lot of money for a vehicle. So I don't remember how much mine cost because I paid it off slowly. Yeah, it's definitely possible. That's true. And I bought mine back in like 2016. 2017, something like that. 2017? 2017, 2018, actually. Yeah. So. Yeah, the cars definitely were cheaper in 2020 because no one was driving anywhere. So. I can't believe how long I've had my car for. That's kind of bonkers. And my goal is to get another 10 years out of it, at the very least. I'm not going to be able to afford a new vehicle anytime soon, so... Not even like a new vehicle, just a different vehicle. Like, I'm not going to be able to afford to go out and drop money on a vehicle anytime soon. Even if it's a cheap-ass, like, junker falling apart, you know? Oh, yeah, I hate that. Yeah, it's times like these that I wish I drove a truck, just because trucks are literally made to haul things. You're pretty much not going to find a truck that can't pull a U-Haul trailer behind it, unless it's like rusted all to hell, you know? So, you know, whatever. Hopefully I get to it tomorrow and they're like, oh no, this is fine, absolutely, you can, yeah, no, it's fine. You know, absolutely you can haul this thing with you. And I'm like, but what if I load my vehicle down to the brim where there's like no space for anything to even move around while I drive? Like it won't even rock back and forth in the vehicle while I drive. What if I fill it up like that? Will it still be able to tow stuff? You know. Oh, it was just a faulty wire. I love that for you. Oh yeah, the key thing. Yeah, you mentioned that in one of the other streams. Yeah, that's always the scariest thing is you're like, my engine's not working, and then it turns out there's just a faulty wire somewhere or a sensor's not working right, and it's like, oh, stress for nothing, you know? Also, hello, Stray. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a chip in your key that communicates with the ignition to say that it's a valid key and not just a fake key. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Fancy. You got a fancy one. Yeah. That's what I was told was wrong with mine. Why it needed a jump start after every fill up with gas was because of a sensor in the gas tank. But I know they haven't replaced the gas tank sensor, but suddenly it's not an issue anymore. So I'm not gonna complain. It made driving to and from Nebraska far easier, not having to take 30 minutes for every single gas station stop. So. It's a common safety feature. It's in there. Nice. Camrys are pretty reliable vehicles. They're really good vehicles for like keeping it for a long time. Max's is a Camry as well. It's a 2007 Camry though. And Maxis basically replaced everything in the hood of it except for the engine at this point because their alternator died. And then they had a bunch of other little issues in the hood, but not the Camry, not the engine. I mean, the engine was fine. Yeah, that's what mine struggled with when I was having the issue with the fuel tank was the engine wouldn't turn over. You would hear it trying and it would get really close sometimes, but it would never actually fully turn over. So you just sit there and it just go and it just yell at you, and you're like, I'm hurting my engine. I need to stop. So I just just need a little extra juice just to get it over the edge there. I really hope this METDA gets canceled, you guys. I'm praying for that text message that says, "Oh, your METDA was canceled." Please, that's all I want. I don't want to go in for an extra day against my will. I would have gone in for an extra day of my own will, of my own free will. I would have gone in for 2 more 6s like I did the other week. I would have done that again, but no, mandatory time. No, it's not been canceled yet. Please cancel it. Please. It's possible it'll get canceled tonight or tomorrow because sometimes they don't need us anymore on Wednesday since it's the last day. So the extra Sunday people, Monday people, and Tuesday people will sometimes get it all taken care of. So then they don't actually need the Wednesday people to come in, which is really nice because that happened like a whole month during the winter. Ooh, it was lovely. So yeah. There's just so much. There's just so much happening all at once. So many things that need to happen. It's a lot to think about. It's very annoying. Having so much going on in my head all at once. Huh? Yes, what's the video choice? What do we want to do today? Probably got half an hour before Max gets home. We've got some Fox News. We've got abortion stuff. We've got Jesus stuff. We got a lot of Jesus stuff. We've got LGBT stuff. We've got murder. We've got Ben Shapiro reviewing John Wick 4 with spoilers, although I don't know if everyone here has seen it, so that would be an issue. We've got Benny looking at memes. Benny looking at TikToks. Lots of Benny Boy on here today. Benny Boy and Jordan, so... no? What about no? Oh, you're close. Okay, you've not seen it yet. Okay. You've got 4? You've got 4 downloaded already? I'd be surprised if it was already out and streaming already, but I guess not. Not with the speed that stuff moves to streaming these days. I haven't checked my site to see if anything new has been posted lately. You don't have any video choice. It's gonna make me email. No. Okay, good. I thought that was Willem Dafoe. No, mostly all the same stuff that's been on here. Although Yellow Jackets is up to episode 4. I might binge that soon. Nope, all the same stuff that's been on here. Okay. Something fairly generic, huh? You might not have added 4, I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if 4 is even out and available to be, like, you know, downloaded yet, because it's probably not on streaming anywhere yet. I need to finish Kunk on Britain tonight. I've only got 3 episodes left, so it shouldn't take me long to do that. And the most annoying thing is that I can't work on any of the stuff I need to work on in terms of, like, moving during my free time because it's nighttime. Nothing's open. So you weren't a fan of Taskmaster? What do you mean? The Black Widow character? What are we talking about? What's up? Oh, I don't think I ever watched it. I don't know if I ever watched it. I can't remember. I know I've watched something from Russell Howard. I don't remember what thing I watched from him. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Wasn't the best showcase. It's fair. United States. It says in the tags, actually. Which I was surprised that was even an option. The location tag. Good old Tennessee. Sarcasm. That was sarcasm, by the way. Not good old Tennessee. Not good. Very old.
114.
Oh, yeah.
It's a moment in court that shocked everyone. The sister of a slain 13-year-old cheerleader dropping heart-shaped stones into a glass. One after another, the glass fills up until she reaches the number 114.
This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds. that my sister had to endure.
Tristan Bailey, last seen
I thought that
wearing
might be
her
where that was going. That's why there was a timer on the screen to show how long it takes to do that. Holy shit.
cheerleader uniform went missing on Mother's Day 2 years ago in Jacksonville, Florida. This surveillance video shows her at 1:15 a.m. She's walking with a 14-year-old classmate, Aiden Fucci. When police picked up Fucci for questioning, he posted this truly disturbing photo of himself in the back of a police car, giving the V sign with the caption, "Hey guys, has anybody seen..."
The V sign? Did he just say the V? This is not a V. Okay? This is a peace sign. What the fuck? The V sign? Okay, I'm sorry. That is the most disturbing part of the story, is that he just called the peace sign the V sign. Okay? 114 stab wounds, rookie numbers. V sign, V sign. No one in here is complaining about that, but it's a big issue for me. It's a very big issue for me.
Tristan lately. He also
that name, Tristan, spelled like that, I'm sorry. R.I.P., but...
and with the caption, "Hey guys, has anybody seen..."
That's a spelling. That's definitely a spelling choice.
Tristan lately. He also posted a Snapchat video.
Having fun in a bar.
During his police interrogation, Fucci's parents
Hydrated.
scolded him
Been
for
hydrated.
posting on social media.
Snapchat that you gave was not very smart.
Run the Snapchat thing.
He's 14.
It's
He's
all
not gonna
over-
be
all
very
over the
smart.
internet everywhere.
Tristan's body was discovered in a secluded wooded area. She had been stabbed 114 times.
That's just insane.
Fucci pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. At his sentencing hearing, each of Tristan's siblings and her parents all dropped stones into the jar.
So impactful, it just absolutely stopped everybody. Complete quiet in court.
Fucci presented this
Oh, he does the circle eyes. Serial killer right there. He does the little circles for his eyes. Sussy. That's sussy. I don't understand the family members dropping stones into the stab jar. That seems weird. I appreciate it for the... Because a lot of people... Like, 114 stab wounds sounds like a lot, right? Because it is. But it's hard to understand how long it takes to stab someone 114 times. So having that, having her drop those 114 stones in one by one to show how long it would take is very important for the jury to see that this is not a crime of passion. This is a pure hate crime. Like, this is a pure crime of hatred and anger and rage and savagery, because you can stab someone 10 times and that be like a crime of passion or something. It's still a lot, but it's like crime of passion type. 114 is overkill. She would have been dead way before he finished stabbing her. So having that like jar to show how long that takes is very, very important to show the jury how savage this murder was. But what I don't understand is then her siblings and family members adding to the stab jar. That confuses me. I noticed they were different stones. They were like white stones. But that symbolism seems a little weird to me, since all those little blue stones were meant to be stab wounds in their child/sibling. So, you know. But the little circle eyes are always sussy to me.
his handwritten apology. "I'm sorry for all the pain I caused the Bailey family. I know my apology will not fix anything or bring her back." That didn't sway the judge, who sentenced Fucci to the maximum penalty allowable under Florida law.
There is only one appropriate sentence in this case. I sentence you to life in prison.
After the sentencing, Tristan's family gathered outside
Did
court.
they take away his parole
They were
off
all
him?
wearing shirts emblazoned with "That's my squad, Tristan Bailey Strong," in teal, her favorite color.
That's cringe, but okay.
We are very appreciative of this outcome and feel that it is the right verdict considering how heinous the crime is and Aiden's behaviors around it.
Maybe because she was a cheerleader. That makes more sense. I forgot she was a cheerleader. Did he get Does he have option of parole? Because he's 14, so parole would make sense. Life in prison. Since he's a minor, I wonder if they're allowed to prevent him from getting parole based on the savagery of the crime. I don't know how that works because they just said life, but life without parole and life with the possibility of parole are two very different sentences. Because a lot of times when kids are sent into prison for life, they are up for parole once they hit adulthood, or 21 sometimes, is depending on the scenario. Oh, there is no parole in Florida. Okay. There's no parole in Florida. What? There's no parole in Florida? Interesting. I mean, it makes sense that he didn't mention it if it's not even an option in Florida. Stop loading. Okay. So if he behaves well for the next 25 years, he could potentially get a review of that sentence. Parole is very important because a lot of times, like, people will get sentenced to, like, 20 years with parole after 8 or something like that, where you can put in for parole and possibly get it, but it's not a guarantee. But it helps get people out of prison faster, which a lot of times is a good thing because our prison systems make people worse. And the longer people are in prison, the more dangerous they are, especially with things like solitary confinement and things like that. That stuff that is proven to make people more violent when they spend time in solitary confinement, which is considered by, I don't think it's the UN, but some European thing considers solitary confinement to be torture, yet we still do it here. It's used in the U.S. for all sorts of things. John Oliver just did a video on it last week. I already knew a lot about it because I have a criminology minor, and we had a whole day where we talked about solitary confinement and the negative side effects of it, and why it's done, and why it shouldn't be, things like that. But John Oliver just did a deep dive in it last week. That was really well done. Obviously, it's John Oliver. His stuff's always really well done. But yeah, fucking 114 stab wounds is just absolutely bonkers. That is a lot of stab wounds. That's a lot. That's a lot of stab wounds. Yeah, I mean, most murderers murder out of like a crime of passion type situation. Most murderers aren't like mass killers or psychotic sociopaths. Like, most people who kill are like heat of the moment killers, or it was an accident, like they got really angry and they pushed them and they hit their head and they died. Like, that's like really common. Or here in America, they get really angry and they pull their gun out and they shoot somebody. Like, that's fairly common as well. Not everyone who does murder is a horrible, terrible, awful person and should be locked up forever and ever and ever. So, there are definitely exceptions to that rule on both sides. There are definitely exceptions where the person should serve no time, and exceptions where that person should absolutely be locked in a box forever. But I don't agree with the prison system in this country. It's just, we've talked about it before, I think, in a while ago, but the prison system here is just complete ass, and does not help anyone's situation ever. It's just sad to talk about our prison system, because it is a business. Our prison system is a business, just like pretty much the rest of the country. It's a fucking business. Yes, it is modern slavery for profit, so much so that in Louisiana, I believe, one of the old slave plantations is still used as a slave plantation, except instead of it being people who were bought and sold, it is prisoners are forced to work in cotton fields on a plantation in Louisiana. So we never really got rid of slavery. We just changed what it meant. You have to be locked in prison to be able to be considered a slave now. Otherwise, slavery is illegal. You're not allowed to buy and sell people anymore, but that's really about it. Oh, it's like 95% black people. So between Louisiana already having a high black population and more black people being arrested for crimes, the majority of the population of that prison is black. I'm sure that's a shock to you. It's all Asian people. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Let me find the name of it. Angola. Yeah, Angola. Angola was the name of the plantation, and that's what they named the prison. They're not even subtle about it, is the thing. Oh, yeah. Louisiana is a southern state, very aggressively so. All right, here we go. '21st century. Here we go. Composition. Outcomes, Reception Center, Death Row, Beeline. It has an airstrip? Oh, for transporting prisoners and officials. Interesting. Wow. Angola has the largest number of inmates on life sentences in the United States. As of 2009, Angola had 33,212 inmates on life sentences, making up 74% of the population up for that year. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Farming. Inmates cultivate, harvest, and process an array of crops to make the facilities self-supporting. Crops include cabbage, corn, cotton, strawberries, okra, onions, peppers, soybeans, squash, tomatoes, and wheat. In 2013, the prison resumed growing sugarcane, a practice which stopped in the 70s. As of 2010, the prison has 2,000 head of cattle. Much of the herd is sold for markets for beef. Each year, the prison produces 4 million pounds of vegetable crops. Inmates also breed and train the horses used at Angola for field work. Trustees are mounted to supervise workers in the fields. In 2010, the Angola prison horse sale was initiated at the time of the annual rodeos. Yeah, trustees are mounted to supervise workers in the fields. They're not even subtle about it. All right, death row. How much do they still do that there? I believe. This is probably a good read. This whole page probably is a really good read. Death row and non-death row. Executed non-death row. It's a lot. There's a lot there. Yeah. The Alcatraz of the South. It's a lovely title. I'm sure people love having that as the title. Let's see. We live in a hellscape. I'm pretty sure Cleopatra was black. Was she not? She was Egyptian, so she wasn't white. Some Persian and Iranian ancestry. Should be brown. Because Egypt is like a mix of like black people and Middle Eastern people in terms of skin color, to my knowledge anyways. So she'd probably have been, like, she'd look quote-unquote Middle Eastern. AKA not white. Most scholars will say without hesitation Cleopatra was white. Which, I mean, it doesn't really matter if she was white or not, in my opinion. Like, I don't know why that matters, but... But Egypt is in Africa. So... You know. Macedonian Greek general and companion of Alexander the Great. Yeah. It would depend on how pasty she was. Africa is in Egypt. Is that what I said? Did you not know that? The entirety of Africa is located inside of Egypt. Did you not know that? Technically, we're all from Africa, if you trace it back far enough. Pangea. So she went in Texan and came out with a British accent? How does that work? I am white, so makes sense. Very much so. Very much so. Let's watch this one. It's about abortion, but it's Gothix, which means we can put it on 1.25 speed. Or
it's time to overturn this abortion nonsense. All right, you guys want to talk about abortion. That was one of the topics that progressively...
That's me. That was me for a very long time, at least.
No pun intended. Over the years, my opinion changed drastically on it. Like, drastically. Before, I always held the position of...
Oh, my.
It's your choice, your body, your choice, body autonomy. It's funny how body autonomy changes when we're getting on the topic of the, you know, that thing, the Covivi treatment that I'll not name. But it was always, you know, my body, my choice. And then it changed to, as I got older, it changed to, well, I'm not going to have an abortion, but if they want to, they can have an abortion. And then that went out the window the last couple of years. And the thing that really made me change my perspective on it was, first of all, when I started going down the rabbit hole of Black Lives Matter and then actually faced with the statistics of how many it's time to overturn this abortion nonsense. All right, you guys want to talk about abortion. That was one of the topics that
okay, can you hear me now?
No pun intended.
Because I'm going to pause her when I talk, so it's, you know, as long as I'm about the same level of loud as she is, we should be fine.
Over the years, my opinion changed drastically on it. Like, drastically. Before, I always held the position of, it's your choice, your body, body autonomy. It's funny how body autonomy changes when we're getting on the topic of the, you know, that thing, the Covivi treatment that I'll not name. But it was always, you know, my body, my choice. And then it changed to, as I got older, it changed to, well, I'm not going to have an abortion, but if they want to, they can have an abortion. And then that went out the window the last couple of years. And the thing that really made me change...
Which is still pro-choice. I don't want an abortion, but they can go have an abortion. Is being pro-choice. That's what that is.
My perspective on it was, first of all, when I started going down the rabbit hole of Black Lives Matter and then actually...
Why is this down like... Why is it just like... I'm supposed to like these videos.
Faced with the statistics of how many black women abort their kids in compared to other races, it's astronomical. Like, it's really bad. And
yeah. You know why that is? Because black people tend to live in poverty more often. And when you live in poverty more often, you tend to have worse sex education. You tend to have less access to other forms of birth control, like Plan B or condoms or things like that. And people in poverty, just overall, black or not, are more likely to end up with an unwanted pregnancy or accidentally end up pregnant. Now, also, I would be willing to bet a large portion of the black women that are getting abortions already have kids, because the vast majority of people who get abortions already have kids, black or not. So the reason black people get more abortions than white people is because white people can go get abortions wherever the fuck they want, whenever they want. So we don't always get the statistics on that. But also because black people tend to live in poverty more often than white people do because of systemic racism. So it always comes back around to either Reagan, systemic racism, or both. It's probably got something to do with Reagan as well. We're always 2 steps away from being able to blame Reagan for everything that's wrong right now. But that's the reason why. That's why there are more Planned Parenthoods in black neighborhoods, because that's where they're needed. That's where black women need access to not just abortions from the Planned Parenthood, but checks for cervical cancer, regular checkups for other health things for their reproductive health, or birth control, or this, or that, or the other, a bunch of different things that Planned Parenthoods provide. So, like, That's why. And people want to be like, oh, it's black genocide. It's not. It's not black genocide. This is the one time it's not. Like, and this is the one time that it isn't. You know what I mean? No one's forcing black people to go get abortions. That's not how the world works. But black people end up needing them more often because they already have kids and now they're pregnant again and they can't afford to have a third, fourth, fifth child. So we'll go abort this one so we can continue to feed the 3 we have. It's pretty common, not just amongst black people, but in general. You don't get the reference of Ronald Reagan being the problem of everything? I'm sure we can find a video about that. Not Reagan. Ragern. Oh, I just watched one from... Why is it not giving me the channel? Probably because I'm not on my normal thing.
PETA.
Hello? Hello? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like going door to door?
They were standing outside,
Hmm.
walking around. I could see them fast approaching. I didn't have time to get all the groceries. I didn't want to talk to them.
I thought maybe you were being chased by Mormons. You sounded very frantic.
No, I could see them coming. I saw them coming, Nico. When I left to get groceries, listen, I didn't see them holding any books. But why else would 2 men, roughly in their early 20s, be wearing black pants and white short-sleeve button-up shirts
Red flags.
outside? Just standing outside. And ties. They were also wearing ties. Mormons.
All the red flags. All the red flags.
So yeah, there's more groceries. Oh, something came for you.
What?
I have mail. Something came for you in the mail.
Oh, is it my new social security card?
What did you say?
Is it my new social?
It is.
Let's show them my social security card.
Yeah. You also got something from Lexington Clinic.
Oh.
There's other stuff that belongs to me in there, but
Ew. Gross.
yeah.
Ew, Cigna. Even more gross. We don't need that. And more
No.
progressive that you also don't have any part in.
Nope, I'm happy with my insurance.
Max was running for the Mormons, yes.
I was. It's also hot outside.
Yes.
And I was jogging up the stairs with several pounds of groceries. I still have more groceries outside, though, and they were walking this way.
You might have
They're
to
going to
risk
get
it.
to me, Nico.
We might have to risk it. Although, the thing about Mormons is if you tell them to go away, they'll go away.
That's true. If I'm like, hey,
Like, if they walk up to your door and they see no soliciting on your door, a lot of times they'll leave. They won't bother you. So, if they try to stop you, you're like, no, thank you. I'm good.
I'll be like,
You'll be like,
sorry.
you can just say, I'm a Christian. I'm good, thank you.
I mean, I'd probably say, sorry, I'm a homosexual and I'm happy living in sin. Yes, Baymax running from the vampires.
Yes.
I have more groceries.
Any chance I could get the letter opener?
Yep. They're non-perishable groceries. They can sit out there.
You brought all the perishables with you on the first
Yeah.
one?
I threw everything on my back and ran.
You probably
just the-
you probably looked crazy running up those stairs.
It's possible.
Would you be opposed to Hattie B's again tonight?
That's fine. Gosh, it's hot.
It's your turn to pay anyways, and Hattie B's is pretty cheap. So,
No, it's not.
well, for as filling as it is, it's cheap. It's cheaper than fucking Taco Bell, I'll tell you that. Who needs a letter opener? Me. I got letters to open. And I like to leave my social security card in the thing I get it in. Like my old social security card is still in the envelope that my parents received it in when I was born, so.
I do need to see what this is about. And where'd the Norton one go? Okay.
See my social security card and my number and my name and my address? You have changed your appointment. Yes, I know. That can go in the trash. They canceled it and I called them about it and said, don't make me a new one, thank you. So that's garbage.
The Mormons were standing over near the mailboxes.
Oh, so they weren't even like close.
No, they were, and then they started walking up towards us. They got to the gazebo when I was getting my stuff inside, and they were fast approaching. They're fast.
They've got the spirit of the Lord inside of them.
I can't switch to home delivery. Pretty sure they don't want to deliver supplements through the mail. Sorry, supplements. Controlled substances. Yeah!
Yee. Do not carry this card with you. Do not laminate. I know. I'm gonna leave it attached and everything.
It's so dumb that they don't let you laminate it.
Yeah. Yep, and they didn't change the number either, which is really nice. I'm glad I didn't have to... That would have been like a whole thing.
Oh my god.
So my old one needs to be shredded, which is in the chair over there.
Cigna is dropping my psychiatrist in May. And I just had my last appointment with them.
Perfect. The spiral notebook that's underneath all those clothes, can you grab that for me?
Uh-huh.
Thank you. I got my old one in here. I really need to put all these papers back in my safe, because I've got my name change order, I've got my social security card and all that shit in here. Yeah, this envelope. Is there a date on this envelope? It says Baltimore on it. Baltimore MD. Did my parents? Oh, there. It's all Baltimore. Okay. That's just where I guess that's where the National Social Security Office is probably located, I guess. So this, I assume I shred the old stuff. Oh, it says I'm supposed to sign it. Aw, it's not a nice line anymore. What's that about? Look at this. It's not a nice line. Why is that? It's shorter now.
That's weird.
No, I mean like the name doesn't go across in a line. It goes first, middle.
Does.
But it's shorter now. My name's shorter now. Why is it?
It is.
That doesn't make any sense.
Huh.
I guess they've just changed the format. It's been a while, so.
I guess. Interesting.
Yeah.
It is
perforated.
It also has the date that they printed it.
Yes, which
And
the
your
old
old
one
one
absolutely
doesn't.
does not.
No. I don't think so.
I need to sign this hoe. It says sign it immediately, Max.
No, I don't see anything on it. When you get it, you're like 10 days old. How are you supposed to sign it?
I did eventually sign it.
I mean, you're an adult,
That's
so
my name,
you
so.
getting a social security card, that makes sense. But like when you receive your social security card, I'm pretty sure we received mine when I was 10 days old. I can't sign
Yeah, and my
it.
birth certificate's in here too, so I definitely need to put all that back in the safe. So this stuff can all. I don't think I need to keep the old social. So, to my knowledge, we're supposed to shred it and get rid of it. So, can you put that in your shred pile? I trust you to not steal my old identity. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to anymore.
Yeah. Look how old this looks. Like the ink is like spread. Like that's how old this is.
It's really interesting the way that social security numbers work, because the first 3 digits are about where you were born, and then there's some about when you were born, like specific to like, I don't know, it's like more specific, and then there's like sequential numbers that you get. So the first 3 numbers of your social security card are those numbers because of the place that you were born in.
Yeah.
Which is why you and I wouldn't have the same ones.
Nope.
Because you were born in Kentucky and I was born in New York.
Trash. Is that trash?
Yes, it is.
Woo, all the trash.
Because all these events that they're advertising for me to go to are...
Yeah. And we can't even laminate it. So, like, if it floods, you have to go get a new one.
So dumb.
Whereas a basic lamination would keep it from doing that. Even if your identity is stolen, they won't change it. No. Not to my knowledge.
Social security number?
I don't think so, no.
Surely there has to be some mechanism in place.
Yeah, you'd think there'd have to be a way to, like, void it out.
Yeah, surely. Nico, I'm afraid the Mormons will be there when I go back outside.
But don't throw my card away. Make sure that goes in your shred pile.
Yep.
I ain't trying to have people know my social security number.
Seriously, though, it's really annoying that my insurance company keeps wanting me to get mail prescriptions when the only thing I want a mail prescription for is the thing that they almost definitely don't mail. I feel like that'd be such a bad decision to get the one-controlled drugs in the mail. Or I guess that's a Schedule 2. A schedule.
I forgot I also need to take my car to a car wash tomorrow, so I can wash all the bug murder off of the front of my car.
I need to take mine to a car wash, jeez.
I need to take it to one so they can scrub the top as well. Because it's nasty. Also, Max, Jimmy's not American, so he doesn't know how everything's Reagan's fault.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know, Max.
Stray's American, though, right?
Yeah, Stray's.
Jimmy's not American.
And neither is Rookie.
Stray's American. Rookie's not American.
Yeah, Stray is not here. Stray left. But yeah, everything's Reagan's fault. Reagan is the problem. Ronald Reagan, this man, he ruined everything. It always comes back to him. I sent you a bunch of TikToks last night, so we've got those to watch. We've got some from last week. I know you sent me some. I accidentally opened it, and I didn't watch any of them though, so I'll have to scroll back and find them.
I think it's like 2. It wasn't very many.
It's like 6, I think. I haven't looked at it in a while, so it was more than that. But on one of the ones I sent you, someone in the comments was somehow about Reagan, but someone in the comments was like, you know, the game on Wikipedia where it's like how many steps to get to from one thing to another thing. They said, they're like, I played that, but it's always 2 steps to Ronald Reagan. Any political issue we have, you can always trace it back to Ronald Reagan in about 2 steps.
The other unfortunate thing about the Mormons, though, is that I actually have such a deep fascination with the fact that people are, like, so into this cult.
And they're not even quiet about the fact that it's a cult.
Like, they have missionaries.
Mm-hmm.
What other cult has missionaries?
Sex cults.
Not even. Most cults don't have, like, missionaries.
Oh, I was making a pun with the word missionary.
No, I see what you're saying.
Oh,
There
okay.
are sex cults, though. But
Yeah.
I feel like they, like, advertise, but they don't, like, go out and make disciples of all nations.
No. At least Mormons are usually nice about it, which is one thing we can't say about Christians a lot of the time. So they're very aggressive about it a lot of times. So that got Rookie's attention. There we go.
Sex cults. Yeah.
Nexum is the one I always think of right now.
Nexium?
Nexium, yes, not Nexum. Nexium.
Yeah, Nexium is pretty whack.
Yeah, we were also just
really-
looking at the Illuminati channel, and she made a video on that a while ago. So
You really don't see a lot about sex cults anymore. Like, that was a really big thing in, like, the 70s and some in the 80s, but really sex cults just aren't cool anymore.
oh, John Oliver's thing this week. What was it about? Farming? Something like that.
I don't know.
I can't look it up on this site. On this one, it won't work. So it won't like it if I look up John Oliver. It would go against the grain, Max.
Oh,
I've got my grain set up.
Mess up your algorithm.
I'm doing my best. Honestly, looking up Illuminati might do it by itself. So thought you said it was prison. What do you mean? What about prison? Yeah, we got to Ronald Reagan because we're watching Gothix talk about abortion, and she talked about how she mentioned how black people get a lot more abortions, and I was like, yeah, because of poverty and systemic racism, which is probably Reagan's fault, you know, which probably traces back to Reagan, because the reason black people are all in the same place is because of some Reaganomics era stuff, as well as redlining, which I believe was a Reagan era policy, or at least was encouraged by the Reagan era. So, the topic was prison, and then we switched to this video. Because we watched a short little 2-minute video about this 14-year-old who stabbed a 12-year-old 114 times. That's a lot. That's
What for?
Just cause.
The child didn't have a reason.
Apparently not. When I googled it, it said there really wasn't a motive. Murder. Murder was the motive.
Did they like go to jail? And
Yeah,
shit?
it was in Florida, so they got life. Apparently, did you know that parole's not a thing in Florida? There is no life with parole. That's like not a thing. That's the face I made. Because when they sentenced him, they just sentenced him to life, and I was like, is that with or without parole? So I googled it, and nowhere was mentioning it, and then somewhere said, since Florida doesn't have parole, a life sentence means a life sentence.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's 14. Like, usually, at least minors will get, even if it's like a life sentence worthy crime, they'll usually get parole after they reach like adulthood. Like 18 or 21, depending on the state. But, you know.
I don't think you should be able to get life without parole.
No.
Until you're like 25. Because then your brain has finished developing and
Yeah.
you are the person that you are going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Good thing it
you're,
wasn't
like-
California, they would have been set free with a warning. That's not true.
If you're like even 20, you're an idiot. You are not the person you are going to be for the rest of your life. God forbid I stayed the person I was at 20. So
Same.
I really don't think life without parole. I don't agree with life without parole. I don't agree in capital punishment.
No.
I just don't agree with forcing people.
I don't agree with our prison system as a whole. The whole thing's broken, but
It's made to punish and not to rehabilitate and create productive members of society, which is fully possible. We
yeah,
just
other
don't
countries do it all the time.
want to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand the point of throwing someone in prison for the rest of their life. What does that do?
Especially for
society?
owning a weed.
They're just a burden on society if they're in prison. Whereas if you rehabilitated them, gave them job skills, gave them coping mechanisms, gave them ways to navigate the world in legal ways, then they could go out into society and become a taxpayer and become a worker.
Yeah.
And
Not to
become a
mention the fact
consumer.
that so many people go into prison for stupid little things like having weed on them, and then they become violent because they're locked in solitary confinement. When they were perfectly fundamentally healthy beforehand, they just liked pot. And they had a little too much of it on them when they got pulled over for their traffic stop.
Yeah. And then people get out of prison.
And then go do violent crimes.
They can't get a job. They have to pay their parole officer. So they go back to selling
Drugs, yeah.
to pay their parole officer.
Because they can't get a job because they're a criminal. They're a convicted criminal now, so now they can't get a fucking job.
Prisons.
Which is why I like places like Wendy's. Wendy's hires anybody. They hire felons. A lot of other companies do as well, but Wendy's is the first one off the top of my head that I
I
remember.
hope I sent that TikTok to you. Well, there was a relevant TikTok. I hope I sent it to you.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I'll pull it out of my likes because I didn't watch that many TikToks.
Ah. Have you been scratching your neck?
Probably.
Because you've got a bruise
Do I?
right here.
Really?
Yeah. It's like all discolored and dark.
Bruise?
Yeah.
Let me go look.
It's in prime hickey territory.
I don't have a bruise.
It's discolored.
It's just from scratching it.
Yeah. And how often does that result in a bruise, Max? Huh?
Commonly, for me.
Yeah, I know. So
But
it's a
not
bruise.
Okay. I need to put away your strawberries.
Mhm.
They didn't have the big bags, so I got you 2 little ones.
That's fine.
And then I need to go get the stuff from the car. Probably have the Mormons talk to me.
Like, your keys are right there. You'll need those.
Yep. They're like interesting, but like I'm a homosexual.
Who gave Baymax a bruise? Baymax did. Max did it to themselves. Huh?
Yes, Baymax.
Max is the only one to ever bruise themselves. Is Max? Huh? Prime hickey territory. It's in prime hickey territory.
It is.
Which is why scratching one's neck when you know you bruise easily is not the best plan.
Yes, frozen strawberries, Jimmy.
Yes. They are frozen.
Yeah.
They last much longer. Paper bags, of course. No, it's plastic. It's plastic bag.
This is America.
It's America. I wish it was a paper bag.
You really think we've ever done anything sustainable in our lives?
And you know why we don't do sustainable things? Ronald Reagan. Probably.
We were like starting to make progress as a society, and
then
the
Ronald
pandemic
Reagan
hit. No.
Oh.
I was talking about like green sustainability and stuff. Like places like Starbucks will let you bring your own cup and
Yes.
like, cool stuff like that.
And then fucking COVID happened.
Yeah, and so now we're back to like everything pre-wrapped, individually wrapped, all that shit. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our strawberries come in plastic cartons.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god, there were no eggs.
Really? Have the prices gone down?
Like 18 carton eggs. No, they were the same price. They were just gone.
Oh, they're so pretty, Max.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't really make sense to put them in any kind of paper or cardboard carton because they are like juicy, so it'd get all soggy.
Yeah,
and
this is
gross.
how they come in these horrifically fragile plastic tubs that pop open all the time. So I wish they came in like a paper bag, like a paper box, like a cardboard, like carton, kind of like eggs do. That would make sense because you can still put holes in it, so that way they can breathe. That's why they put them in this, because these are full of like little gaps and stuff, so they don't get like all like moldy as fast.
They still get moldy though.
They do, just not as fast.
And then grapes come in bags.
Yes, with holes in them.
Yes. Why do grapes come in bags instead of cartons?
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. It's also a berry.
Who's to say, Max?
Okay, I'm gonna put your strawberries in the fridge, and then I'm gonna go out and get the rest of the stuff.
He looks like an American president. He just does. Like, I feel like if you showed this to any person in the world who didn't know who it was, they'd be like, what job do you think this man has? They'd be like, United States president. Yeah. He looks like he could run the country. And he did for quite a while. Not well, but he did. He ran it.
He did.
He ruined a lot of things for a lot of people, but he ran it. Yeah. Because was he war on drugs? Was that him?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, everyone was war on drugs. I think he was.
He was the one who started it, wasn't he? That happened it was either during him or the one right before him.
Well, he was the one who took office, the first president in the 80s. So
Yeah.
before that, we were all about like weed is Hispanic and stuff, but like we were like demonizing the race element.
We were making stuff race based so we could make it illegal.
Substances.
Yeah.
But
looks like a Chinese dictator. This man is violently white. I don't know what you're looking at, Jimmy, but this man is violently white. His wrinkles are white. Like, that's how white he is.
You really couldn't think that he has any other job.
No, you really couldn't.
Why doesn't he have the pin?
He could own a bank.
He doesn't have the pin.
Yeah. He's not American. He doesn't like America.
Did he not start? When did they start doing that?
I don't know.
I thought JFK started that.
He could be a lawyer. I'm looking at strictly his face, not the suit. So, he looks like he's been a lawyer for a long time. Or president. That's about it. And he was an actor. Oh yeah, the reason we don't have unions anymore, Ronald Reagan. The reason union busting is basically legal, Ronald Reagan. The reason our middle class has disappeared, Ronald Reagan. It always comes back to this asshole. It's impressive, Max. Reaganomics is one of the worst things to happen to this country. Truly. It's so funny because I'll watch a video when I was at work last week, I watched the Illuminati video about Ronald Reagan. I watched this one. And then I went and watched a video from this other dude that wasn't even relevant to the topic that I just watched a video on. And Ronald Reagan came up in the video as part of the reason of what the person was talking about, as where it started. And I was like, it's always Reagan. It's always Reagan. Like how Kevin Bacon's in all the movies, Ronald Reagan is in all the bullshit, you know? I just find that funny. People loved him, though. I grew up thinking he was one of the best presidents we ever had, because that's how they talk about him in school and stuff. Holy ass. No wonder, Max. That was his election.
Yeah.
He turned California red.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen.
Wasn't he from California?
But Georgia's blue. That doesn't make no sense at all. The fuck?
Jimmy Carter, man.
Crazy. What was the other one? What was the other map? Assassination attempt. Oh my, he won the second one even more so.
That's usually how it works.
Who the fuck is Mondale? Who is that?
Mondale? Oh, I have no idea.
Never heard of that bitch. Nobody in my state tried to tell me Reagan was good. Well, you live in a state that's regularly blue, though.
What state is Dre in?
Massachusetts?
Oh, Massachusetts is never red.
Yeah.
Never ever. Under any circumstances.
Right? In Massachusetts, right? I'm remembering correctly, right?
Never ever.
I grew up in the South, Stray, okay? People in the South love Ronald Reagan, okay? I need you to understand this. Like, if you think they love Trump, no, they love Ronald Reagan. And Trump just sounds like Ronald Reagan, because you want to know where Make America Great Again started? Ronald Reagan. He said it first.
A majority of people in the South love Trump. All people in the South
Love Ronald Reagan. Yes. Yeah. You'll even find people in blue states who love Ronald Reagan, and it's like, no. Stop it. Get some help. No. Oh yeah, AIDS was during him as well, so we have him to thank for that.
First president my mom would have voted for.
And she probably did.
She was born in 65, so I think that would math. Yeah, that maths.
I think the reason he's considered one of our best presidents is because he did the most things. Like, he did so much stuff during his time as president.
He did.
He did a lot during his time. I mean, he was president during the Cold War, war on drugs. There was a lot of civil rights things going on at the time with MLK. He established MLK Day. He fucked up the unions completely in the ass. He's the one who appointed Scalia.
Uh-huh.
That's how long that asshole's been there.
Yep.
He's still there, right?
No.
Did he die? No, he died. He died in 2016.
Yeah,
He's
died.
okay, right. He's the one that they wouldn't let Obama appoint a replacement for him.
But now Merrick Garland, who was supposed to be that Supreme Court justice, is the U.S. Attorney General. I think so.
Sounds like he was a good Giga Chad rookie, and that's not a good thing. He did a lot of good stuff as well. Like, our economy improved a lot under him, despite the fact we were in the Cold War. But there were a lot of things that he set in place that would lead to a lot of the problems we have now. Yeah, so. Oh yeah, he did a bunch of tax things too. He's most well known for his war on drugs and the Cold War. Which was a big deal. It was a big deal at the time, so. But he's done a lot of other little things and passed a lot of other little things, like the union stuff that you may not know was actually him. Because he was the leader of the Actors Union in the United States of America.
He was.
He wasn't just in it. He was the leader of it.
He was also in a very famous movie, which was filmed exclusively with active duty troops during World War II.
Yeah, which he served in, yeah.
So the movie had a lot of cross-dressing, and he turned out to not, approve of that shit. But, I don't know. I just think it's fascinating that we seemed to think it was totally fine for men to cross-dress, but
Suddenly now it's a problem.
God forbid trans women exist, but men wearing women's clothes?
Yeah, or drag queens.
God forbid drag queens exist, God forbid trans women exist, but men wearing women's clothes? That's hilarious.
It's so funny. I don't remember anyone yelling about Robin Williams.
I don't.
We all still love Ronald. We still find it funny because that movie's great. Because that movie's fire and his prosthetics are ridiculous.
I haven't seen it in
I haven't either. It could be
decade.
really problematic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that
it could go either way.
That you enjoy, and then in hindsight you go back and you're like, oh wow, this is extra problematic.
Yeah. Alright, go get the things. I'm gonna speedrun this Gothix video.
And I'm looking at this like, okay, talking about Black Lives Matter, but do they though? Per the abortion industry, do they?
I'm not going to stop and address
that. Was sort of the thing that solidified it for me. And then, as more time went on, I started listening to...
I'm not going to stop and properly address that because we've already discussed how a fetus isn't alive.
A lot of arguments surrounding the pro-choice movement, and they don't make sense. They appeal to emotions, but when it comes down to it, it actually does not make sense. Like, for example, I saw one today where this woman was talking about we shouldn't be forced to give birth.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you to give birth. Here's the other argument. We should have a choice to not give birth, okay?
Yeah.
But you did have a choice. When you made that agreement to have sex with that other person, you understood.
Yes, and that's not always how that works. And we're going to just throw rape and incest out the window and just ignore those and talk about two consenting adults having sex. Birth control exists, and a lot of people who get pregnant by accident were on birth control when they got pregnant, or took Plan B after they found out they were pregnant, or took it the next morning, I mean. And it didn't work because they weighed too much or whatever. There are so many reasons. Plus, it doesn't matter. People should be allowed to have sex and not have to pay for a human being to live and exist for the next 18 plus years. Like, you know, like that's not relevant. Well, incest is an exception because incest causes birth defects. That's why it's considered a exception to the abortion rule. And oftentimes because incest is also rape, because it's often with a minor. But that's one of the reasons why it's considered an exception to, like, when people will, like, outlaw abortion, or they'll limit it to, like, 6 weeks, or under rape/incest scenarios. Because a lot of times incest is also rape because it's a grown person with a young person, or it's two grown people who are very much too closely related to be making a human being in a safe manner. So sometimes they will make exceptions for incest and like consensual incest as well as non-consensual incest. But she already knows this, and I think that it's weird to claim that that's that it's an emotional argument. I don't think that's an emotional argument to say, I would like to have a decision to make about what happens to my body. Like, that doesn't seem emotional. Like, people definitely get emotional when talking about it because bodily autonomy is very important. But the basic logical statement of, I don't want to be forced to have a child, I don't think that's a very emotional statement to make.
No.
It's pretty basic. Like, I don't want to be forced to do something that I don't want to do. Especially something as consequential as making a person that you then are responsible for raising into adulthood. Some expensive shit. What?
Would you like to see a comically large pill bottle?
Sure. It better be massive, huh?
It is massive.
Why is it so tall?
I don't know, but it's very tall. Show them. You can't see information on that side. It's so large.
This is a American can of soda.
iPhone 12? Okay, yeah, that works. It's like roughly the same height.
Yeah, it's not quite as thick around as the soda can, but it's pretty fucking close.
They're not suicide drugs. Those are for my migraines.
I don't think you could suicide on those if you tried.
I have to take... Well, I take 3 a day now. I had to take 4 a day. So there's 120 pills in this bottle, which is why it's so big. Because they only make 100 milligram and 300 milligram capsules.
I don't think you could OD on those. Huh?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's deadly, even if you tried to OD on them.
I mean, anything's deadly if you take enough of it.
But, like, you'd have to take a lot of gabapentin to OD on gabapentin.
I mean, it might, like... I don't know.
Because you are allowed to take 4 a day, which means you'd really have to quadruple that, at the very least, even have negative side effects.
Lots of people take way, way, way more than that, too.
Exactly.
They make it in, these are 100 milligram pills. They make 300 and I think 500. So, yeah, so people take quite a lot.
We aren't allowed to buy more than 2 packs of paracetamol at a time. Each only has about 16 in each box.
Wow.
Meanwhile, we buy, like, the 2 packs of 100 Tylenol.
Which one's paracetamol?
Not sure. I'll Google it. Paracetamol. Boop.
Paracetamol is... Oh, it is acetaminophen.
Yes, acetaminophen.
Okay, it's just another NSAID. it's not an NSAID. No. NSAIDs are aspirin and ibuprofen, I think.
Tylenol is a brand.
Yes. Tylenol is a brand. I thought acetaminophen was the compound. But
It is. It is.
Paracetamol is another name for the compound?
I think
yeah,
so.
It says NHS. I guess that's just what they call it in the UK.
Yes. It's the British version. It's the British acetaminophen.
Gotcha.
America has to buy branded. Damn right we do. Although we usually buy Kroger brand, so because it's cheaper.
Yeah, you can obviously buy
Store brand.
off-brand, but the off-brand is just called acetaminophen.
Yeah.
I think y'all's like cold and flu medication is also like totally nerfed. Like in Europe and in the UK, it's like your medicines are not nearly
As
they're
strong.
Not nearly as strong.
Well, because they have more restrictions on it. It's harder to accidentally kill yourself with flu medicine in the UK than it is here.
Well, and also like stuff like Dayquil. Isn't that one of those things that they're like people can like make some like illicit drug out of or something?
Yeah.
I think that the UK just decided no.
Yeah.
So
none of that.
they don't have
Was it
anything
meth?
good.
I think people were making meth out of Dayquil. I think that's.
Meth?
I
Or
think
is
that's what
it
it was. It's probably because you put Red 40 in it. Yeah, probably.
Maybe. Used to make illegal drugs. Meth.
Yeah, it had to be meth.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything else that they could be trying to make with those compounds.
Yep, there's some stores where they keep the Dayquil behind the pharmacy counter, and you have to have people get it for
They
you.
don't at Kroger.
Yeah.
You can buy the Dayquil and the NyQuil. Although they do limit you how many you can buy, I believe. You have to get your ID scanned when you buy it. Dayquil.
Interesting.
Like they have to make sure you're of age to buy it.
Ba, ba, ba.
Sometimes. Sometimes. It only sometimes makes them come check your ID. And I don't know what that's about.
That the results could be a child. I think a lot of the times when people use this pro-choice argument, they're looking at it from the perspective of, well, what do you mean I can't just have sex for pleasure? You can do whatever you want, but you have to acknowledge what the purpose of having sex was. It was to procreate.
No.
So if you're going
You just said the purpose of the sex was for pleasure. Procreation shouldn't have to be a side effect of that. Which is why we have things like Plan B, why we have things like condoms and birth control, why we have things like abortion. It's the backup for the backup for the backup, because sometimes that's necessary. Hello, we have another new person, another first-time chatter. That's 2 for today. I think that's a new record.
Nice.
Oh, I thought my screen was dirty. No, it's just it's a black and white GIF. I thought my screen was dirty because I saw it at that angle.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a GIF.
Uh-huh.
That was weird. But I mean, this is what I expected to hear from Gothix. I expected to hear all the normal right-wing talking points when it comes to pro-choice talking points. Like I understand them to just not.
Pro-choice, then?
No.
I don't know.
No, I'm not watching a pro-choice person on my channel, Max.
Sorry, pro-life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pro-choosing life. Yes.
Yes, she is pro-forced birth. So, she is of the mind that if you have sex, you must accept the consequence of a baby regardless, because you took that risk when you had sex.
But that's not like how it works, though.
But that's why we have medicine. That's what abortion's for.
If you used contraceptives, you didn't accept the risk.
Exactly.
You
took measures to prevent
avoid
it.
the risk.
Yeah. And sometimes those measures don't work, which is why we have the backup for the backup for the backup. That's why you go in and you get your Depo-Provera shot or your IUD. You wear a condom. And then if you still get pregnant, you take Plan B the next morning just to be safe. And then if you're still pregnant, you go get your abortion. It's the backup to the backup to the backup. Huh?
I truly don't get people who really think that that's a logical way to think of things.
I don't either.
Like if you don't think critically, it makes sense.
Yes.
But if you think
If you think it at very surface
all of
level.
the other ways that logic could be applied, it makes absolutely no sense. Like saying having sex with someone under any circumstances is consenting to pregnancy is like saying getting in a car under any circumstances is consent to being in a car accident.
Yeah.
It's not, though. You put on your seatbelt, you drive safely, you
have
do
airbags,
things to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I don't consent to die in a car wreck just because I got in the car.
No, I'm just on my way to the store to get drugs. Like, I'm not... It's like saying getting in an airplane is consenting to getting in a plane crash. It's like,
I took
no?
measures to avoid this.
Yeah. That's why we go through all the different checks we go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I expected nothing less from a Gothix. This is exactly what I expected her to say. I don't know why it ever even surprises me in any capacity, but, you know, it is what it is.
She looks like one of those people who would wear a Virginity Rocks shirt.
Yeah. Unironically.
I knew so many girls that just like visually looking at her face, I knew so many girls like her in group. Like so many. Like they were
She's
like...
still in her goth phase, but she wants to talk shit about trans people. That's what gets me. She's made being goth her entire personality, but she wants to complain about trans people trying to live.
I don't get it.
I don't understand. You can't get, like, you being goth isn't a big deal, but you complain about other people's life choices, invalid.
You can't even fully screw it closed.
Oh, because it's too full?
Yeah.
Nice. As soon as you fill up your weekly drugs, though, it'll be fine. Because there's some Thickums pills, so. See, I love things like this, because these make me think of, like, the jelly bean challenges, where you have to guess how many jelly beans are in the jar. So, like, we know this is 120, because someone counted it and put them in here, and wrote on the label 120 pills. So it's like, it doesn't look like 120 pills could fit in there, but you know there's 120 pills in there, because that's what the label says. So, that's what it makes me think of. They're doing the jelly bean thing at work this past week, so I had 3 different jelly bean jars, and be like, guess the jelly beans, and I'm like, I don't fucking feel like it.
I hate those a lot.
They're very dumb.
They give me so much anxiety, because I'm like, I don't have any concept of the size of things.
Yeah. And of the area and space, yeah.
Like, if I just looked at this bottle, I'd be like, I don't know, 300. Like, it looks
Yeah.
like so many,
It looks
but
like
it's
a
only
lot.
120.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think this is the biggest bottle I've ever gotten. For any pills.
This is the first time you've gotten a
So
120?
No, I got it last time. It just was a squatter.
Oh, it was wider. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't as tall.
Big chunk. This is tall chunk.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Yes, let me speed run this real quick, and then I'll come join you and we can go get food.
We'll put away the groceries.
Okay.
Into it with the intentions for pleasure, you're also co-signing on the fact that you could end up with a kid after this. So I reject that notion that you're taking away the choice of a woman. No, she made the choice when she was spread eagle. You know? Okay, sure, we can talk about the low percent of sexual assault cases, which is very terrible. I hate that happens. But I don't know any other crime where a child would be punished for what the parents did. What other crime is there?
There's no child being punished. A fetus is not a child. I know she doesn't know that. I know she disagrees with that. But the basically single-celled organism inside of the body of the pregnant person is not a child. That's not what that is. It is a fetus. It is not a child. It is not alive. If you unplugged it from its mother, it would not be able to live on its own. It is not alive. So it's not a child suffering consequences. And even if it were, none of us remember being born. None of us remember what it was like to be in the womb. So none of us would know what it was like to be aborted. It's not something that's going to register in the brain. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how life works. So it's not, even looking at it from a slightly more skewed sideways look at it, like, it's not going to know what's going on, even if it can feel pain because it's got a couple nerves. It's not going to know what's happening. It's not going to have any registration of that, the fact that this is pain. Like, it's not going to know that. Like, its nerve endings might fire because it does have nerves, and it's like whatever bits of it are there because there's more than one cell a lot of times. But it's not like you're taking a 2-year-old child and shooting them in the head because their parents had sex. That's how they frame this when they call it, say, punishing a child for the sins of the parent. Like, this isn't a child. Like, you're not understanding that this is not a child yet. Like, and we're not talking like 8 months in. We're talking like a few weeks in. Like 6 weeks. That's not a child. It can't think. It doesn't have a brain. I don't even think it has fingers yet at 6 weeks old. So I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. It's not a child. It's a parasite. It's not a child yet until it can make it outside of the womb. I'm tired of that argument because it's not valid. It's not acceptable. It's not the argument we would make in any other situation outside of this one. And when presented other situations that are identical to this one, people don't agree with the pro-life aspect of it. Like what if someone hooked you up to somebody else and now you're their blood bag for their malfunctioning kidneys? You have every right to say, no, I don't want to be hooked up to this person, even if that means that person will die. Because that's not okay. It's not consensual. It's not all right. They are bleaching off of your body without your consent. That's what's happening here. It's not a child. It's not a child. Do these people not know what children look like? I feel like these people don't know what children look like.
Abortion is the only one. And I think it would be better and maybe more digestible for people to just call it what it is, call it murder. Because this is the other part of the argument that I learned over time, is that they'll say, okay, life begins at birth, is what a lot of people will say. So 9 months, when it comes out, now it's a baby, but not when it's growing, right? So think about it.
It's a life at some point during, like, the process of growing, like during the pregnancy. Eventually it does gain, not necessarily sentience, because you don't gain sentience, I don't think, till after birth, if I remember correctly. Like, isn't that a thing? Because, like, sentience is knowledge of oneself, and we don't gain that till after we're born. So it's not even, like, sentience, but, like, it does eventually hit a point in, like, the 3rd trimester where it is now a person. It has autonomy. Now, there are definitely situations where if like a pregnant woman who's like a few weeks along gets murdered, they'll get charged with two murders. I don't agree with that. I think that's fucking stupid. Now, if you murder a woman who's very obviously pregnant and is very late stage pregnancy, yes, that is the murder of 2 people, because at that point, that child is a child. It is a person that you could rip out of its mother and it would be able to survive on its own. So, like, 3rd trimester abortions, which are incredibly fucking rare and really only happen when there is a extreme medical issue or the fetus is already dead, and therefore the only way to get it out of the body is via abortion. By that point, the person has made the decision to keep the child, and therefore it is their child because they've decided they want it there. That is the part of consent that is so important. The difference between a parasite and a parasitic relationship and a non-parasitic relationship is the desire for that relationship. So it's really all it is. So, you know. But that's not relevant, Rookie. That's not relevant to the conversation.
This for a second. Is they'll say that it begins at birth. That's when life begins. And then they'll say the thing inside of you is a clump of cells, and that clump of cells...
I don't hear a lot of people say life begins at birth, though. I don't hear a lot of people say that. It might have been a thing people used to say. I don't really hear that anymore, especially since abortion became such a hot-button topic and something people talk about so often. I don't really hear that very often, that it's life begins at birth. I don't know a lot of people who believe that.
Isn't alive. Well, if something's not alive, it's not going to grow. I'm a clump of cells, and I started off this teeny.
Men masturbating kills more kids than the potential number to even be born. Yeah, if that's what we're going to go back to, then yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. If they want to talk about if abortion is murder, then what is masturbation for men? That's a lot of wasted sperm. That's a lot of wasted sperm. But that's not a child? That's not a problem? That's one of the things I don't like. It's just inconsistent. It's inconsistent. Huh?
Tinier than that. And now look at me. So that's false. And it's also interesting when they say, trust the experts on this. Okay, thing's not alive. It's not going to grow. I'm a clump of cells. And I started off this teeny, maybe tinier than that. And now look at me. So that's...
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're still here. So, no, I'm just kidding. But unfortunately, your tiny little clump of cells have come to the conclusion that this is the way things are, which is not correct. That's not how the world works. When you were a tiny little clump of cells, small enough to sit on the end of a needle, you're not a person. That's not a person. Like, that's like saying a box of flour is bread. No. That's not how anything works.
It's false. And it's also interesting when they say, trust the experts on this. Okay, well, per scientists, small microorganisms found on Mars is equal to life.
It's too late to abort her, unfortunately.
but these clumps of cells are not. Excuse me? I'm noticing some inconsistencies with this.
Also, she wants to say libs are cringe, but she says "excuse me." Who says "excuse me"? In the year of our Lord 2023, or in her case 2022. Max has earbuds in. Max, your sweatshirt's still in here. At least I think that's what that is. Sweatshirt.
And I started off this teeny, maybe tinier than.
What? Why, Oh, Max is gonna be in there making noises and then ignore me. Fucking rude.
Than that. And now look at me. So that's false. And it's also interesting when they say trust the experts on this. Okay, well, per scientists, small microorganisms found on Mars is equal to life. But these clumps of cells...
Yes, because those microorganisms have a function. Those microorganisms exist on their own. That's what life is. A clump of cells, as you keep saying, does not survive on its own. That is not life. Microorganisms that have a function and do things are life. Although there are a lot of bacteria that some scientists disagree on it being considered alive because they don't actually like think or do anything. They just kind of float around. But yes, there is a difference between a functionless fetus and a functional bacteria or single-celled organism. These are different things.
Are not. Excuse me? I'm noticing some inconsistencies with this argument. And yeah, so that is what I have realized over the years is a lot of these arguments aren't
so
consistent.
cringe. I can't get over it.
They appeal to emotions. And I think
it wouldn't be cringy if she didn't call other people cringy and then say shit like "excuse me." Like that, it's just hypocritical.
Underlining concerns for a society that welcomes abortion is, number one, it devalues the life of a human because that human isn't looked at as a human depending on where it is at a certain stage of their
calling a clump of cells a baby is an appeal to an emotion. Yeah, exactly.
Life. So
calling it child murder is an appeal to emotions.
They're saying that the birth of the child is when that child is actually a life. That means that that essentially means that you are saying that that kid isn't deserving of human rights. And that sort of mindset...
Because it's not a kid. So yes, the clump of cells that is eating away at that person's body does not deserve rights. It's not wanted. Therefore, the countless other reasons to not let that child get to all the way into development to where it is actually a person is it's being grown in a place that it's not wanted. It's being grown in a hazardous environment, an environment that doesn't want it there, which is not the place for any child to be raised. And a house that can't feed it or doesn't want it. Like, who wants to bring a person into that? Why would you encourage people to bring a child into that situation? A situation where they aren't wanted. Like, there are so many other reasons outside of the fact that it's not actually a life to have an abortion. Like, there are so many reasons outside of just it's better for the person who's pregnant medically, like they have a medical issue so they can't carry to term, or it's not actually alive. Like, there are so many reasons that we can have for after the abortion is bypassed, after we prevent the abortion from happening, and for someone who does not want this child or cannot afford to have this child to then have that child. There are so many negative consequences for that child that would make someone an advocate for abortion. Because there's no reason to give birth to a child just to not feed it, or lock it in a closet, or beat it, or send it to a foster home, where it's most likely just going to age out of the foster care system. Like, does that make sense? Like, there's so many other reasons, once it is actually a life, to have abortions. Like, there's so many reasons that abortions are good and helpful. And also, we've been doing abortions for a very, very, very long time. This isn't a new thing. Like, abortion isn't just a new thing that has recently happened. It's just more recently, in the past 50 years or so, become a more medicalized scenario where it is done more professionally and done in a safer mechanism than it was in the past, where they'd give you a poison and you drink a poison, and that would, in theory, sometimes cause an abortion to happen. That's been around for thousands of years. So, you know. So if you eat something with a parasite in it, did you consent to let that live in your body forever too? Those worms in your gut are a result of your desire for the pleasure of food, therefore you consented. Exactly.
Is similar, and people will compare this to slavery, but I do agree with it. The underlining thing that compelled people to do despicable things to other human beings was the fact that they didn't see that human as worth having any life. And the same thing is subtly being said about kids that are in the womb. It's like,
because they aren't kids.
They're not deserving of it because they don't match all of
they
these
aren't children.
mainly being you're in the stomach and you're not, you know, vice versa. So I think that's the first thing. And then the other thing that I think the underlining concerns for a pro-abortion,
this is why I have her on 1.5 speed
in society, is the fact that it discourages
there's a lot of pausing and a lot of ums and ahs, and like she like pauses a lot between words, not just between sentences or between thoughts. She'll pause a lot between words. Tapeworms are kids now. Yeah.
Self-accountability, because we can take it back to just wanting to have sex for pleasure. You're not being responsible with the decisions that you make. And I think...
But how do you know that, Gothix? How do you know that the person who had sex didn't take the acceptable measures to prevent themselves from getting pregnant? How do you know? Have you talked to every single person who's ever gotten pregnant by accident? Have you ever talked to people like that? Have you spoken to all of them? I know multiple people who have had abortions, even though they've taken every measure they can take outside of not having sex. Like, what part of that aren't you understanding? Like, it is statistically proven that the majority of people who have abortions are people who take birth control, or people who have kids already, or people who are too young to have kids. Like, that is the vast majority of people who get first trimester abortions. Or people who are like, can't carry to term and have to have the abortion or they will die. Like, that's pretty much encompasses all of them. Like, the amount of people who get abortions as a form of birth control isn't really a thing. Like, that's not... And also, when it's phrased like that, which she hasn't somehow, for some reason, which is kind of confusing. She has in other videos. She might in the last half a minute here. People want to claim that abortion is used as a type of birth control, which, okay, whatever, who cares? But also, no one goes and gets an abortion just cause. Like, even people who don't know they don't want kids put a lot of thought into it before they go have that done. Because it's a medical procedure. Especially once it gets to the point that it is a medical procedure where you have to go into a doctor to have it done, and it's not just plan B. You know? Like, I don't think a lot of people who are pro-life understand that no one enjoys having an abortion. People don't do it for fun. Like, like, that's not the function of the abortion. It's not like ooh, I have the right to do this, so let's go do it to celebrate the fact that I have the right to do it. No, that's not. It's a meme that people will say it like that as a meme. I hear that a lot, but it's not the reality, which I feel like a lot of people just don't talk to other people in general, so they wouldn't know that. I don't know if Gothix has friends, but as someone who doesn't really have friends, even I know people who have been in those situations. So I find it hard to believe that Gothix doesn't also know people who've been in those situations. The thing that really gets me are people who've had abortions who are anti-abortion. Make that make sense. What? Like, those people confuse me.
think that murdering the kid because you decided to do something with your body, that's now further enabling you to sort of hit the backspace button. Abort, baby. Don't want it. I want to go out and party. Yeah, no. No. So yeah, I'm
Or maybe they want to go back to work so they can feed their kids, the kids that they already have. Or maybe they do want to go party. So the fuck what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter why someone wants an abortion. Whether they're having it for fun, having it so they can go out and party, or having it so they can feed their kids, shouldn't fucking matter to you or to me, because it's not our body and it's not our fetus. The only time I feel like another person should get a say in it is if it's the baby daddy. That's the only time you should get any form of say. And even then, it's a very slim amount of say. Because at the end of the day, it's not his body that has to go through it all. For me and you, if Gothix wanted to have an abortion, that's none of my fucking business. If I wanted to have an abortion, that's none of Gothix's fucking business. At the end of the day, other people's medical choices are none of our business. What other people do with their bodies, it's none of our business. And I think a lot of people don't grasp the fact that it's none of their fucking business. And I feel like that's very prevalent in a lot of the things that especially America is trying to do these days, is just not minding their fucking business. You know? I feel like we'd be a lot better of a society if we all kind of mind our own fucking business a lot more often. Especially when it comes to people's specific personal lives and personal decisions about their lives and the way they want to live their lives. It's very applicable across a wide spread of topics, not just abortion.
Excited. I would love to see a society with no abortion ever. And I'll pray that happens.
I would also love to see a society where abortion isn't necessary. But that's not a thing. It's not reality.
But yeah, that's my opinion on that.
I'm so glad we watched this in 1.5 speed. Jesus Christ. How slow is this without that?
And maybe more digestible for people to just call it what it is, call it murder. Because this is the other part of the argument that I learned over time.
So
is that
slow.
They'll say, okay,
oh my God.
Life begins at birth. Is what
I feel
a
like
lot
she's
of people
talking in slow motion. Jesus Christ. Fortunately, everyone in here also likes it at the faster speed and can like hear it at the faster speed, like can understand it. Because otherwise we'd be suffering over here because Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be able to watch her videos if I wasn't able to speed it up. Like if y'all weren't able to understand what she was saying, sped up. Granted, I talk fast, so if you can't understand what I'm saying, you're not going to be able to understand what she's saying at 1.5 speed. So, yeah. Yes, it does help with the unhinged vibe. That is going to be it for today. Hopefully I'll be able to stream tomorrow, but I'll just have to keep y'all updated on that as tomorrow proceeds. If it does happen tomorrow, it'll probably start later than usual, like probably closer to 3 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock or 2:30. If it happens at all, that's probably when it'll start. It'll start an hour later than normal, an hour later than it did. When did it start today? It started at 2:40 today. So it'll start 20 minutes later tomorrow in theory, if everything goes to plan. Yes, I am going already. I've been live for 4 hours, so it is time to go eat dinner. I'm hungry. This was my breakfast, so and the Cheez-Its that I had. So if my overtime gets canceled on Wednesday, I will see you all on Wednesday. If I am able to finish my stuff early enough tomorrow, I will see you all tomorrow. And if neither of those things happen, I will see you maybe on Monday. Maybe on Tuesday. I've got plans on Monday, so we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow, though. Sleep well. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you all very much. Goodbye.